Great opportunity you have at your doorstep right now. You are just days away from an NFC championship game. Big Sills here. By the way, our friends from BetUS were powered for the next 4 hours with our friends from BetUS. Please hit the like button. We appreciate it. All likes. We need those in the first 15 minutes. And also our super chats. Guys, do me a favor. Every single one of them that you send to us goes back to the network here, making sure that your show continues to grow. And we appreciate you guys doing that so much. Really a great time of the year, man. Conference championship games this weekend. What a shitty 12-team tournament the NCAA/ESPN and the college football playoff system put on. The committee did not pick the best teams to play in the 12-team tournament. They picked the teams with the best names and with the best records. That's not a metric. Just because you have the best records, ask Minnesota, ask Detroit, that doesn't mean you're going to win a championship. That does not mean that. It has a lot to do with momentum. Heading into a playoff, they can't stop Big Sills flexing. They're trying. Santa Ana, everyone, no way, baby. Hit that like button. We appreciate it. Yeah, man, that college football 12-team playoff was a complete joke. I turned the game off and I went over and watched M. Reyes' favorite network, the Bravo channel. Yeah. Or I went over to watch the cooking channel halfway through that game. Ohio State was the better team by far from the coin toss. I mean, Notre Dame, they're a good story. I like Marcus Freeman. By the way, Joe Theismann, Redskins MVP, will join us at 5:30. We will get his take on Jaden Daniels in the upcoming NFC Championship game from the former Monday Night Football analyst. He will be with us, and former NFL MVP Joe Theismann will join us at 5:30. Please hit that like button. So, again, you got a great opportunity here. You're days away from history. You know, you look at Buffalo and Kansas City. What's the storylines there? Mahomes is playing against history. Allen is trying to validate the MVP award this year. And he's trying also to make history. He's trying to get that monkey off his back. Can't win the big one. Hey, man, there's been great athletes in every sport that have that distinction. Didn't win the big one. Barry Bonds, Dan Marino. There's been a lot of great athletes. Charles Barkley, that never won the big one. These guys were bus drivers and not cabooses like Hurts. But you got to win it to validate that legacy. Let's not forget, I've told you this before, John Elway's 2-3 in Super Bowls. If it wasn't for Terrell Davis, Elway would be in that room too. Elway was hey, you want to hear something that's going to make you guys feel a lot better? John Elway was the caboose in his Super Bowls. Elway was the caboose. Terrell Davis was the workhorse on that football team. John Elway didn't lead those Bronco teams to the Super Bowl. Terrell Davis did. Alex Gibbs and that zone blocking O-line they had. John Elway was 0-3 in Super Bowl play. 0-3. Then they got Terrell Davis, and they got an O-line. Hello, you got Barkley and an O-line, and they went on to win back-to-back Super Bowls. Actually, if they weren't upset by the Jags one year with the home field advantage, they may have won 3 in a row. O-line and Terrell Davis was the reason He was the caboose. I mean, a great running game and a great O-line can carry you so far. The question is, can the quarterback make the play? And John Elway in those Super Bowls made some significant plays that they needed to have in the passing game. That's what you're facing on Sunday versus the Commanders. This is going to be a completely different Commanders team than you've played in the last two games. If I were you, I'd stop that stupid shit where you guys are saying, well, we've seen them. That's dumb. They're not the same team. Because last year, the Bucs, you did that to, and they beat the shit out of you. Well, we lost AJ. One player makes you look like that? Where's your quarterback? One player can't take you down like that if you're a great team. Look at what Vic has done on the defensive side of the football. This guy loses players. That defense never falls off. He never falls off. By the way, the coordinator spoke. We'll hit on what the coordinator spoke of. Vic and Kellen. No question about it, man. One player can't take you down. Or shouldn't be able to, in my opinion. Please hit the like button. You guys are great. I appreciate it. Okay? Get this. You're a very vanilla football team right now, which is okay. Jahan Dotson is the lead, Sills, not the caboose. Jahan Dotson. The guy in Washington that you cut is better than Jahan Dotson. He's better. Okay? Hey, face who you are. Just face it. You are a fist-punching football team that no one has been able to take your punch. You are the best knockout artist in football right now. I'd rather be that than a jabber and a guy that goes and wants to go the distance. I'm looking to knock your ass out right away. This is a football game, dude. I'm not looking to hang around for 12 rounds. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to knock your ass out now. And that's what the Eagles have with that O-line. If we win the bowl, Vic Fangio, best DC in Eagles history, better than Jim Schwartz. Yeah, because he ended up having the number one overall ranked defense. And I would make this point to you. Guys, help me out, historians of the Eagles. Isn't there more homegrown kids on this unit than were on that 17 unit? Or am I wrong? Is there more homegrown kids on this team than what were on that 17 team? Wasn't that defense littered with mercenaries and guys that you got off different rosters? I'm always going to lean on homegrown. Like Gang Green. I'm always going to lean on that. When people talk about the best teams of all time, that means drafting went into it. Player development went into it. Did they get to their second contract? Were they good picks by the organization? Down draft, not just in the first round. I'm always going to lean that way. I'd rather have homegrown kids who grew up in the organization than mercenaries. Why? A mercenary's not really caring about the scheme, what have you. He's more concerned about his career and how he's playing, not about the guys he came into the sport with. You get more of a sense of a team when you have guys. Tony Dungy told me this years ago. He goes, look, man, you try to build your championship team through the draft, and then what you do in free agency, those are gap fillers, guys that you might have missed in the draft. You don't want to build your entire football team on free agents. Okay, so that 17 team to me, albeit great, and they all came together. The 2024 team, in my opinion, these were all homegrown people. You know, when you're in high school, and you've got kids that you are able to develop from the time they were freshmen until the time you were seniors, You build a better chemistry that way because you all have gone through the growing pains of being successful. My daughter played, as I told you guys numerous times, rugby, right? First year she had at her college, they were terrible. The final year, they're playing for the national championship, and it was a togetherness of building the program. That's kind of what you got with these guys, with the Eagles. A lot of guys were drafted together, and they were building the chemistry and continuity. That's why I would probably lean on the 24 team if they close it out. Okay? You want that in your unit, and you want that in your organization. That's why a lot of places want to elevate coordinators from within. Why? You're keeping continuity. The worst thing you can do for any program, college, high school, no matter what it is, when a coach leaves a place, go outside of the organization and bring somebody else new in. You know why? They don't know the players' likes and weaknesses. They don't know what struggles they've been to get where they are. Everybody has to reprove themselves again. I'd rather elevate from within. You elevate from within the players. It's the least amount of resistance that gives you the best formula for success. If you put all these speed bumps in front of players, they're going to trip over them. Don't put speed bumps in front of players. Eliminate them. How do you do that? With continuity, cohesiveness, knowing the players, having relationships with them. That's why the Eagles are where they are, especially on the defensive side with Vic. They got great teachers. Those aren't coaches. Dude, a great coach is a teacher. A shitty coach is a coach who tells you to line up and the guy doesn't even know what the hell you're talking about because you didn't teach him. There's a chemistry to teaching. Okay? First you're a teacher, then you're the coach. Point A to B, C. That's what Vic Fangio's doing with that unit. That's why when they dropped Oren Burks in there on Sunday, there was no drop-off. Why? Because that kid was prepared to take over for Nakobe Dean. Because he was taught. Then they you coach in games. You teach during the week. That's the formula on being a great coach. You are teaching all week long. Sunday's the time to coach. You know, you hear coaches making this up all the time. Got to win this game. Saban's right, dude. Work on your formula. Your formula is going to take you to the wins. Okay? It's going to take you to the wins. Hit the like button. I appreciate everybody coming here. Supers go to the top. All right. We're going to hit on a lot of stuff here. And I want to start it out with this. And you tell me how you read this or how you hear this about Jalen Hurts. This was Nick Saban on the Pat McAfee show. I think he's doing things they need to do to win. This is on the McAfee show. They're a running football team. So get this. This is a running football team. There is really only one reason to worry about the Commanders. That is Jaden Daniels. They are also missing Kosmia for this game. Big loss, absolutely. The offensive lineman he's talking about. It's a huge loss. Huge loss. They're a running team. That's what Philadelphia is. They run it. Jalen can run. Made a big play in the game on Sunday night. And you've got to defend it. Kind of what we've been saying. Then you've got to be able to throw the ball effectively enough in play action. And I think Jalen is a good enough passer to do those things. That's not really a ringing endorsement. And Zander gave me a little bit more of what he was saying that in practice, they would not allow him to run. They wanted to develop him from the pocket. Jalen Hurts, since Alabama, has not developed pocket presence. The sacks are the telltale sign that he has not evolved as a pocket passer since Alabama. Plain and simple. Your passing game is never going to be any better than what it is right now. He is not going to get better. This is what it is. And when you have the dual threat ability, if Jalen Hurts can't run the ball, he is an ineffective NFL quarterback. Plain and simple. If you took his legs away, he's not an NFL quarterback. If you took Josh Allen's legs away, he is. That is the difference. That's the clear difference in the two. Okay? This is Nick Saban saying this. How about that Buckeye Sills? Ohio. I didn't think it was going to be a close game, and it really wasn't. Thank you, Anthony. Ohio State's got tremendous talent. Still, I would say this to you. That's got to feel like an asterisk national title to the Buckeye players. I'm sorry. If I won a national title and the Gators beat the shit out of me, and I was a 21-point favorite to win the game, and I got beat, and every senior on my team has never beaten Michigan, I don't know how I'd feel about that national title ring. I might not wear that. I might not wear that ring. I don't know. I never beat Michigan in my 4 years. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love the kid Sawyer too. I think he's going to be a great one. But at the end of the day, man, not one player on Ohio State who played there the last 4 years has ever beaten Michigan. You win the national title? I don't know how I'd feel about that. I mean, you know, somebody asked me, if I won a national championship and Florida beat me or Florida State, I'd be like, shit. I don't know. No, we the champs, Sills. Fuck off. I don't know, man. Okay? Seriously, man. Not one player on the Ohio State team that's a senior beat Michigan ever. Hey, Sills, you had me fired up when you declared yourself part of the Eagle family. Go Birds. Zay, thank you. Hey, man. I love you guys, man. I love the fans. You're right. Michigan lost things. I mean, look, I think it's awesome that they went through the tournament and won the national title. Love to have the ring. Would I wear it? I don't know. How about this? So Michigan guys get to do this. They won the national championship, but not one senior from that team beat us ever in their 4 years. Holy shit, I don't know if I could go 4 years at Miami knowing that the Florida Gators, I'd never beat them, or the FSU, I never beat them. That would be a problem. That would be a problem for me. 4 years, I never beat them? I don't think so. Speed bumps. Who knew a rookie JD would play as he did in the championship game? No, I knew saying that player can't be a speed bump injury if not 85 to 90%. Then Pickett or T. Hill has a better option. Pickett with broken ribs or T. Hill, full 17. T-bone. A lot of jargon there, and I think I got what you're saying. But Jaden Daniels is a speed bump. Don't put any speed bumps in front of that dude. Okay? Don't put any speed bumps in front of that kid. And I don't think really Cliff Kingsbury has. So what do you make of that comment that Nick Saban says that Jalen is a good enough passer? We all agree now. Even the greatest college coach who had him replaced him. and made the comment that he's a good enough passer. He's just not a good enough passer to win a championship for us. And they replaced him. And by the way, Alabama got better. Alabama got better when they replaced him. And they still won more. They replaced Jalen, if I'm not mistaken, Zander, when he was 26-2 and had played in a championship game. 26-2. They replaced him. Thank you very much for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Okay? What do you make of that? He has the same, get this, Saban has the same opinion of Hurts today than he did when he was at Alabama. Am I right? It's the same opinion. He's a very athletic guy, and he's an okay passer. He's a good enough passer. I don't think good enough is something where the Eagles want to be when you have that kind of skill set at the wide receiver position. You have a good enough passer and that kind of talent. Everything I told you, Nick Saban just echoed it. When you want to have a little bit better of a passer to get it to those targets that you paid for? Or are you okay with the current system the way it's constructed now? You're 16-3, but this is not the way that the team was built. What do you mean drama? This guy says drama. What are you talking about? There's no drama here. I'm talking about what Nick Saban said. He said this yesterday. Jalen is a bum-worst quarterback in the NFL playoffs. Or winning in spite of him, not because of him. Completely true. So, I mean, dude, this is not, what drama? Get this, gossip? It's not gossip. Nick Saban said it. That's not gossip. Those were his words. And I quote, taken from the McAfee show, I think he's doing the things they need to win. Hurts' coach at Alabama, Nick Saban, said during an appearance on ESPN's Pat McAfee, this is not drama and this is not gossip. There's a run. They are a running football team. That's what the Eagles are. They've got Saquon, and they're going to run it. Jalen can run it as well. Made a big play in the run game last night. So you've got to make people defend that. No question. I've said that. He's an elite runner. And then you've got to throw effectively enough in a play-action game. And I think Jalen is a good enough passer to do it. He's a good enough passer. He's not an elite passer. Quote, Nick Saban. Not gossip. Quotes. Like Jeff McClain would say to my bosses. Quotes. If birds lose, show Kellen and Jalen the door together. Get right the OC and tame the Mormon missile. Absolutely. Super Bowl or bust. Coaches should have wisdom, not youth. Here, I'll tell you something. Again, Tanner's not ready. Frank Reich is a drop back OC. And you're not getting rid of Jalen Hurts. He's got a no-trade clause. You're stuck with this guy. So you need to develop him the best you possibly can. But the key is this. Your expectations are too high on him as a passer. Your expectations should be more loftier in his running ability, not his passing ability, because that's where he's thrived in Philly. He has made more impact plays with the run game. Okay? By the way, it's always great when new content comes in. And new content was Saban yesterday. This is not me repeating. This is Saban. Nick Saban. Saying exactly what I've said. He's an electric runner, and he's an average quarterback throwing the ball. And that's been the case this year. The problem that you have, again, are you going to be able to make a play in these next two games? Because these next 8 quarters are going to be the toughest quarters of the year. Because you know why? They're championship quarters. Every play matters. Every minute matters. Every yard matters. Every sack matters. Everything right now will be magnified because as the sand comes out of the dial, there's less time. You don't have chances to make mistakes up. TBF didn't Jalen get them to the championship. Yes, he's not a good passer, which is why we have our answer here with Barkley. Just do what it takes to win. Hey, absolutely, I agree. Last 2 years, the fans wanted us to be a run team. We lost 22 and collapsed in 23 because Jalen isn't good enough to carry the team with his arm. We finally have an elite running back. All Jalen has to do is be average. Yes, sir. And by the way, I love that. And to Zander's point, by the way, Theismann will join us at 5:30, the NFL MVP. And also, Zander will join us at 3:30. Guys, there is no doubt this is one of the greatest constructed football teams I've ever seen. And I'll tell you why. I can't remember a playoff team that is favored to win the Super Bowl that the quarterback doesn't have to be elite. It doesn't have to be special. Nick Foles is not an elite quarterback. But in 17, he was special. Right? He was special. He had a special run. That was special. He wasn't elite. He showed signs of being elite. But he had a special moment. Conference championship game, the NFC championship, and then obviously the Super Bowl against Brady. That's a special moment in NFL history. He was never elite. Maybe the 26 TDs and 2 picks. Maybe you can throw that out there and say, Sills, that year he was elite. He made the Pro Bowl. I got it. 26 TDs, 2 picks. That's a crazy great season. To me, he's always been kind of an outlier in how you look at him. I think Nick Foles had the unfortunate time of just being coached by shitty people outside of being coached by good people in Philly. Every other place he was coached by shitty people. So I never really understood Nick Foles. Okay? In Philly, he was special. God knows what he would have looked like in this offense with these talents. The way he is as athletic as it gets. Remember, this guy played basketball at Arizona. This guy was one of the most gifted athletes for his high school class that went into college. He was a gifted athlete. Okay? He was a very gifted athlete. Sometimes guys just need to land in places to be coached right. Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Chicago, all places you go to die if you're a quarterback. You know? All places you go just to die. None of those places have had decent development in quarterbacks. Indianapolis, outside of Andrew Luck. The rest of it, and Peyton, obviously, but look at what they've gone through these last 5-6 years since Luck. Hey, my point here is, this is not really a rip. This is more finally coming to the conclusion of where your quarterback and who he is. You know, as an Eagle fan, the Cowboys situation is so funny. There is no situation. They don't have a plan. Here's where I'm at with this right now. Embrace, give it to me. You're 16-3, right? You need to come to the conclusion that your quarterback is doing every single thing and has accepted it on the things that it takes to win. That's it. He's not ever going to be exceptional in the pass game. But what he's going to do is he's going to go along with what the system is. Troy Aikman did that and won 3 Super Bowls. You would never put Aikman in the conversation of quarterback that if I had 60 minutes and everything was equal on both sides, Aikman's not in my top 20. And I love Troy, but Aikman wouldn't be in my top 20. He had Michael Irvin and he had Emmitt Smith and arguably the best O-line in NFL history. I don't know. Hand the ball off. Throw it on third down. Troy Aikman and Jalen Hurts have a lot of similarities. You're asked to do one thing. High percentage slants and hand the ball off. The difference here is, though, that Jalen can make plays in the run game. So if you're okay with Troy Aikman as your quarterback, why shouldn't everybody else? Right? It's not a rip. Comparing him to Troy Aikman, who has 3 rings. Unknowns and tangibles. Jaden Daniels here, until he played. No, I knew the Washington Commanders division game. Who knew? So let it turn around. Hurts is unable to play. Who's a better choice? Broken ribs, Pickett, or T. Hill? Who knew the title game played? I choose T. Hill. Okay. All right. Sure, T-Bone. Jaden Daniels is absolutely a great player. And I'm assuming you mean Tanner McKee. Okay? That's who I'm assuming you mean, T-Bone. Guys, hit the like button here. Dude, I just compared Jalen Hurts to Troy Aikman. Oh, Tyson Hill. Tyson Hurts. Now, Jalen's better than Tyson Hill. He's better than Tyson. Okay? Thanks, T-Bone. Everybody, please, supers go to the top. Please hit the like button here. Troy Aikman. Hand the ball off, throw the slant. You don't have to really throw a lot of yards. If you look at Aikman, what did Aikman throw for 3,600 yards? Or hey, if you're okay with Trent Dilfer, guys like that, you win a Super Bowl. The one thing that you'll never have is that Hurts will never be in the – Hurts might win 2 Super Bowls playing this way. If they're able to close it out this year, God knows what they can do by running the ball. He might end up making himself like Aikman, get to the Hall of Fame. Aikman, based off of his ability to play, would never be considered a Hall of Fame player. But he was in a Hall of Fame system with a Hall of Fame back who had 19,000 yards rushing. Okay? Tyson. Thank you, Joseph. Appreciate it. Hey, sorry, Joseph. I don't have my dual threat manual out right now. Hit that like button. So, Nick Saban, as long as he... Now, wait a minute. Doesn't this go back to Kellen Moore designing this? On exactly what... Is it Kellen Moore? Didn't he do the right thing here? Well... Hurts is never going to be a passer that's going to lead this team. He basically he had more and did more counter to what the Eagles did by building the team than what Vic Fangio did. He looked at the front office and all the player personnel people and said, we're not going to use the wide receivers except in the run game. We're just not. We're going to use the 2 best things that are on our offense, the O-line and the running back and the quarterback in the run game. And that's what you are. Okay? Dude, you're 16-3. Nobody's shitting on it. Seals, you're an acquired taste. Absolutely true, my friend. You will never like my show out of the gate. You will never. You know why? I'm in your face. I put a bullseye on my chest every day because I do one thing that no one else does. You know what that is? I have a fucking opinion, and I stick to it until someone proves me otherwise wrong. And I don't deviate off that bitch. But when I do, I'll tell you, the guy proved me wrong. Barkley was more of an impact than I thought, for sure. You're keeping it real. Absolutely. If Hurts can't run with his knee, then he can't play. We can't have him back there as a statue. It's going to take sacks, my friend. Take you out of field position. If he can move, then he's good to go. Zander, I missed the super here. Thank you very much, my friend. And that's exactly the truth. Everything you said there. What type of day does Jalen need to do to win on Sunday? 140 yards passing. You know, every time I say that to Zander, he laughs. Every time, it's every week. That's what it is. 140 yards passing, 45 to 50 yards rushing, and Barkley go for 165 and no turnovers. You beat him. A couple TDs out of that for Hurts, 2, and then 2 for Barkley. I mean, dude, you beat him 28. You put 28 points on the board. I mean, look at the scoreboard. Hurts needs that quarterback coach Allen got. Chris Hess. I don't think coach is going to help this. Dude, don't worry about it right now. Worry about it in the offseason because they will worry about it in the offseason. And so will A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown being on the field is also essential in the run game. You have to defend that out wide. You put Dotson out there, I don't give a shit about Dotson. You put A.J. out there, I've got to defend that. Sorry, yeah, man, I meant Tanner. Anyone can play, hand the ball off. Hurts is dangerous with his legs. But Pickett and Tanner are good or better passers than Hurts, in my opinion. They are, T. But that doesn't mean they know situational playing like Jalen does. Jalen's seen a lot of football, dude. Can't take experience away. If you ever heard me say, take Hurts out and start someone else, absolutely never would I say that. I have never said that, and I would never say that. That ship has sailed. You gave him the contract with the no trade. 175-yard passing, 2 TDs, and 50 yards rushing and 1 TD. That would be a big game for him. Not to get ahead, but if we make it to the Super Bowl, this team could be the answer versus Kansas City. Every quarterback except Brady can't beat Mahomes in a duel. This running game can keep him off the field and beat him and beat time, not Pat. Beat time, not Pat. Right, beat the clock. Zander, I missed the super. Hey, you guys are firing these supers off, and I love it. Thank you very much. Please put the supers up there for us, Zander. Thank you, guys. Here goes my boy Pumper. Motherfucker can't run, can't throw, can't read, can't unite a knot, can't untie a knot. Holy crap. What can he do? I bet Buddy can't even cook ramen noodles. How you doing? I like ramen noodles. Yeah. Dude, we're beyond evaluating now. I thought it was an interesting comment that Nick Saban said. Nick Saban's opinion of Jalen Hurts hasn't changed. Sandra, what was Hurts' last year at Alabama? What was his last year at Alabama before he transferred to Oklahoma? Does anyone know what his last season was? By the way, guys, please hit the like button. What was his last year that he had as a player with the Alabama Crimson Tide. And then you'll know. Okay, Kyle says 2018, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. In 7 years, Nick Saban has the same opinion of Jalen Hurts today as he did 7 years ago. What does that tell you? And look at the coaching he's had. He's had one NFL head coach in Shane Steichen. He's had another in Nick Sirianni. He potentially has another in Kellen Moore, and he hasn't gotten better. And you think somehow magically he's going to get better as a passer because you bring another fucking coordinator in? Aren't you tired of that? You think if we win this Super Bowl, Hurts will stay for the rest of his career? Why would you leave? The friendly confines of somebody building a roster like that around you with an owner that spends the money and gives the players the money up front, I would never leave that. With the amount of winning, why in the world would you want to go somewhere else? To beat Dak? Why would Hurts want to leave that? It'd be like, dude, he was forced to leave Alabama. He didn't want to leave Alabama. Am I right, Zander? Hurts didn't want to leave Alabama. He was forced to leave. If he wanted to be a player, he had to leave. You know why? He wasn't good enough to play there. Think about that. He wasn't good enough. And you know what? Some will turn around and go, well, Stills, Joe Burrow did leave Ohio State for LSU. Wasn't he forced out too? Yeah, but Justin Fields turned out to be nothing. He was horse shit in the NFL. Tua led the NFL in passing yards last year and won a national title there. Tua's issues are health. He's a decent quarterback. His issues are health. It's not ability. It's availability. I played green since birth, 62. I don't feel good at all about this game. Potential for a blowout loss. JD's deep ball and Slay's IQ have had issues. Rams. You're talking about Q too. No Slay, Q. Q's going to play. Jaden Daniels, we're going to talk about him here in a minute. Okay? Look at them Rays. Where's Tua now? What's that got to do with a better player? Your team is Jalen Hurts is a caboose. And he's the right caboose on the train. Doesn't upset anything and makes the plays and doesn't bitch about his role. The key to Hurts is bitching about the role. He doesn't. Okay? He doesn't. Just a Christian shout out, Big Sills. Grandmaster Z. Love and peace, my brother. Why do fans care about how we win this? Great question. Picking how to win turns into Seattle in 15. These opportunities don't come often. Do whatever it takes for the ring. That's what they're doing right now, Anthony. Anthony, that is exactly what they are doing. They're going with what they have right now. Okay? Absolutely. Dude, a lot of people do bitch about process and don't understand results. I get it. You're 16-3. This is not what your team is going to look like. They're going to rip that apart if it doesn't win the Super Bowl. If it wins it, they're going to have a tough decision. Jesus, we won the Super Bowl this way, but we're paying all this money for this, and we want it to be a passing team, but we're not a passing team. You built a passing team, not a run team. And I'll make this point to you. I don't really think they're that great in pass protection with that quarterback in the huddle. he runs into too many sacks, and they don't know where he is in the pocket. It's either the O-line's not very good or the quarterback has no pocket presence or both. You have 45 sacks in 16 ball games. Something is not right in the pass game. Do you think Vic, seeing JD5 a third time, helps us? I think actually, Trey, him seeing what is going to come at him, I think it helps Jaden Daniels more. Jaden Daniels had never seen a coordinator like Vic Fangio ever. And hadn't he gotten better in each game he played? He wasn't really great in that game. They were kind of still close for a little bit. In the second game, he was sensational. And in the third game, he's going to be better. He is well coached. Brian Johnson, Cliff Kingsbury, and how about this? Dan Quinn on the other side going, here's what Vic's going to do. Vic's going to throw too high safety, but then post-snap, he's going to change coverages on you. Make sure you're cognizant of the fact that he's going to have rotating coverages on you post-snap. And if I were you, what I would do is the key for him, and every young quarterback does this, every quarterback will get down to 5 seconds with the play clock. That favors the defense with young quarterbacks. Okay, why? Because the defense can move to their coverage before the ball is snapped. If I were him, I'd snap that ball early in the snap count so that they can't get to it as quick as it would be. The more you let that time clock go down, and if you go back and watch the last Commander game, that's exactly what he did. He got the ball off early in the snap count, especially against the Bucs, because you know why? He knew Todd Bowles was going to do exactly what I said. And he got the ball off with a 25-second play clock. Getting those plays in are going to be essential for the Commanders. Don't get down to 5 seconds. It favors the defense. Then they can post-snap you in coverage. It's a tough thing for a young player. You know how many 3-and-outs no defense can guard? Hey, man, 3-and-outs. It's what are the key comments to defenses. Getting those 3-and-outs. Absolutely. Hit the like button, guys, please. Supers go to the top. You guys have been absolutely great. Joe Theismann will join us at 5:30. Okay, so they're coaching him well. Hurts is a spread option, air raid quarterback. Why are you comparing him to the same credentials as Peyton Manning? Look at Jaden Daniels. He's a spread option with 260 completions. Not a very good one. In what areas does Hurts need to improve to win championships and Super Bowls consistently? He's doing it. No turnovers. What does our window look like with Hurts considering his I think your window is where that O-line is. And with the development of the defense, and you may have a coordinator that's going to be around for 4 or 5 years. That's your window. And God forbid, man, those players continue to get better on defense. You got them on rookie contracts. Carter's on a rookie contract. You still got Davis on a rookie contract. You've got Dean on a rookie contract. You've got Q on a rookie contract. You've got Cooper DeJean on a rookie contract. You've got Nolan Smith. If those guys continue to play and pan out, that defense will look like Seattle's defense of the Legion of Boom with all those young players that you had. That is, in my opinion, that's the key to continuing to play the right side of the ball, which is the offensive side of the ball. Jaden Daniels is light years better than Jalen Hurts. Facts. Jaden is Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson, and Jalen is Tito. Yeah. Tito's the bass. Wait a minute. Tito's the bass guitar player, and Jaden is Michael Jackson. All right. I like the Jackson 5 reference. How can Vic counter Jaden and get the snap off quick? listen, like I said, if you're a coordinator, what you want to do is, and Jonathan Vilma will tell you, the key to defending Peyton Manning was never going. Remember that bunch lineup that the Ravens and the Saints would do? They would sit there in the middle and they would wait and get down to 5 seconds. And why? Because then the quarterback has to set the old line. Set! Then you go to your positions. It's too late for him to make an audible. It's too late for audibles. Sills, I think Carter can be Reggie on Sunday. No. Jerome, yes. He's nowhere in Reggie's league yet. Nowhere in Reggie's league. Not yet. Dude, Reggie White single-handedly destroyed teams on every single play he played. Turn the film on, and then watch this. Guys, when you make the comparison to Jalen Carter and Reggie White, do me a favor. Just take any old game that Reggie played and then come back and go, you're right, Sills. Long way to go. Now you're talking about the greatest who ever played with his hand in the dirt. Okay? Reggie White's the greatest player with his hand in the dirt that's ever played. So when you come back and go, wow, you're right. Okay. He's a really good player, but he's not that. There's guys that God left their hand on their shoulder just a little longer. Him and Lawrence Taylor, Jerry Rice, those guys, the Lord just kept the hand on the shoulder a little longer. And you just sit there and go, Bo Jackson, Dion. There's guys like that. God said, no, a little more for you. And that's what those guys were. Okay, I mean, Aaron Donald is a really good football player. Reggie White, I don't think so. How do we help Hurts to get the ball out quicker? Quick rhythm. I think he plays better with up-tempo. I think he's better in up-tempo. When they go fast tempo, what does that do? It stops personnel changes and substitutions, especially when you want to go to nickel. And you keep the other team and you gas the other team and the defensive guys by running stretch plays and up-tempo. I think he's better in up-tempo. Okay? I think he's more comfortable in up-tempo. By the way, Jalen Carter's 22. Reggie White had 20 sacks when he was 22. Okay, guys, I mean, there's no disrespect, but don't ever call Jalen Carter Reggie White. I mean, he's a great young talent. I said he would be a great young talent. Okay? I said it before you even drafted him, that he would be a great young talent. But when you're talking about Reggie White, I mean, remember something else. Reggie White had the ability to play in the USFL, and I'll take that back. Reggie didn't have 22 sacks his first year, and he was 24 because he had played in the USFL. But Reggie's first years, 13, 18, 21, 18, 11, 14, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 16. Guys, you're talking about one of the absolute greatest sack people and defensive linemen that's ever played the game. My Uncle Byron Evans used to show me tapes on that gangrene defense he played on. Love Carter, but no one comes close to Reggie. Nobody comes close today or ever to Reggie White as a defensive lineman. He is the greatest D lineman, in my opinion, of all time. Sills, who is the Eagles' Mount Rushmore on defense? Reggie, Bednarik, Brian Dawkins. Maybe Fletcher. And I'll just go, Bednarik, Reggie, Brian Dawkins. Fourth one's debatable. Probably Fletcher. Jaden wouldn't be Jaden without Cliff. Kellen doesn't know what to do with Hurts. It's simple. Yes, he does know what to do with Hurts. You're 16-3. The one thing he does know is what to do with Hurts. Wait, what do you mean he doesn't know what to do with Hurts? You're in the NFC Championship game. How doesn't he know what to do with Hurts? Okay? How does he not know what to do? I don't think Brandon Graham is a better player than Fletcher Cox. Sorry, I do not. He may be more loved by Eagle fans, but he's not a better player than Fletcher. Fletcher is an NFL Hall of Fame knocking on the door guy. Brandon Graham is not. Okay, he's not. But Fletcher is. Eric Allen could be in that conversation. Eric Allen could be. Okay? Potentially. I heard that too, that Brandon Graham may be thinking of trying to give it a go for the Super Bowl. Yeah, maybe, potentially. Potentially. Here's Senor. Senor, sorry, man. I mean, have you been in here? I haven't seen you, brother. Thanks for staying in here, man, with us. I don't see creativity in the passing game. You're not going to. The quarterback is not creative. Like the run game. Go watch Washington. He's not Jaden Daniels. Senor, you're making it seem like they're going to reinvent the wheel with him. They're not. You're not going to elevate his passing game. He's the same guy he's been in 7 years. That's Saban's same comments. But you're 16-3. What do you care? Who are your top 5 Eagle running backs? Well, Saquon Barkley's hard because Saquon Barkley has had the greatest year in Eagle history. That doesn't make a career. Saquon Barkley's not one of the 5 greatest Eagle running backs of all time. 1 year. So that means T.O.'s the greatest. Would you put T.O. in the top 4 wide receivers of all time in Eagle history? Played 1 year? Would you? Then T.O. gets that same distinction, yes? So then T.O. is one of the greatest wide receivers, probably the greatest to ever play, right? Okay. If you want to do that, then put Barkley in there. But 1 year doesn't make a career in the Eagles. I mean, it just doesn't. Nick Foles is not one of the greatest quarterbacks in Eagle history. But he had a great Super Bowl. He's not one of the top 3. There's no legacy there outside of 1 season. 2. The 26-2 is still great. Okay? I thought Becton was special in that game against the Rams. I thought he mowed people over, and I thought he made himself well-known. And I thought he played the best of any old lineman in that game against the Rams. I thought he picked guys up and threw them into snowdrifts. Okay? I did. I thought he was special. Becton, Carter, Bond, Burks, Slay, Smith, Barkley. These guys were special. Guys, give me a total on our likes right now. Please hit the like button. Appreciate it, man. Real great. Yeah, no, I mean, Mike Quick's probably had the greatest career of any wide receiver in Eagle history. Okay? But AJ's catching. AJ's catching up. Okay, he plays 2 more years. Probably going to make the comment that the best receiver, the best career for an Eagle. See, there's 2 different conversations. Who's had the greatest year in Eagle history for running? Saquon Barkley. Who's had the greatest running back career? Shady McCoy. I have no problem saying that because that's the facts. McCoy did it longer. You guys dispel career for 1 year wonders. I don't, that's not a career. When people go who the greatest Eagle is, you got to look at longevity and impact during that time. Reggie's the greatest Eagle that will ever live. No one will catch him. Nobody. I don't care how many Super Bowls you have. That guy's the greatest player to ever play, and he didn't have the ball in his hand. That's what makes him special. Okay? He's a special player. Okay? Sills, does Vic have a good record when he needs to make a quarterback spy and have a quarterback spy? You're going to keep a guy like Louvu or Bobby Wagner to make sure that he doesn't break contain. Well, I think we should talk about the coordinators now. So let's go over to the coordinators. They spoke today. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button, okay? Get this. Look at this guy. Carter gets 2 rings, it's over. So if you think if Jalen Carter gets 2 Super Bowl rings, he's a better football player than Reggie White, that's fucking stupid. Nobody in their right mind would say that. Nobody. He's not remotely close to him as a player. It's not remotely close. It will never be remotely close. Never. In a million years. Jalen Carter's not a Hall of Fame player. Reggie White was a Hall of Fame player after his 5th year in the league. If Carter gets 2 rings, it's debatable. Really. So you're trying to tell me now you're thinking that Fletcher Cox is a better defensive lineman than Reggie White because he's got a Super Bowl ring? Is fucking preposterous. I mean, do you fucking people watch football? I mean, you show your ignorance when you make a comment like that. I'll be going to some of you less with comments like that because it's insulting. Reggie's the GOAT. Dude, I don't give a shit what. Hey, if you guys are just now saying he's in his 2nd year, then you should shut the fuck up about comparing him to Reggie. Because right now in his first 2 years, he's nowhere near Reggie's first 2 years. Reggie got 27 sacks in 2 years, I think. No, he had 31. Reggie White had 31 sacks in 2 years. 31 sacks from a defensive tackle position. 31. You might want to pump the brakes on that. Okay? Dude, there's Reggie, and then there's everyone else. Why are you debating this? Okay? Sills, I said 20 rings. Oh, okay. Hey, 20 rings? You okay? You got me on that one. Hey, Samuel, if he gets 20 rings, yes, sir. Then it's truly debatable. If he gets 20 rings, got me. Yeah, you totally got me. Yep. Sills, Vic's credit for in-game feel and teaching players is well-deserved. Absolutely, man. Kellen Moore doesn't have that. Kellen Moore works with Jalen Hurts' limitations. He'll know it. Kellen Moore did a good job next season if he's here still. Here, let me say this too. I think Kellen Moore has done a fabulous job with the limitations that you want to hear something crazy? I think Kellen Moore had more limitations to work with than what Vic did. Vic had more unknowns. Would this be fair with the 2 coordinators? Kellen Moore has more limitations because of the passing game, because of the quarterback. Vic had more unknowns when he went into this. He didn't know anything about what Zach Bond was going to do. He didn't know anything about if Nolan Smith could pick his game up. He had no idea if Q was going to be able to matriculate his game from the college level into the NFL level. By the way, I'll tell you one more time. I think those practices that they had with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown did more to prep him for this football season than anybody's giving credit to. You could sit here and go on a chalkboard and teach a kid where to line up, what to do, taking a look at situations. When you got A.J. Brown out there in practice schooling your ass and teaching you what a wide receiver is trying to accomplish with a turn-in or with a wheel route, and then you got the same going on with Devontae, you can't get a better education than having somebody do this. Let me tell you a little more here. So I had a chance, Bob, you'll know this name. I had a chance to practice against Mike Munchak, the Penn State great offensive lineman that is now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and turned out to be a pretty damn good O-line coach. Well, he was showing me techniques on O-linemen, how they're trying to get to points on your shoulder pads and how they're going flat step, deep step, how they're trying to get up to the second level and scoop and slip, and how they're trying to do zone blocking, what have you. I never in my entire life was taught more by my D-line coaches, and I was coached by some of the best of all time. And I have never in my life had more teaching by one guy inside of an hour and a half than with Mike Munchak and what he taught me. Trying that, anytime the guy takes a flat step, what's he trying to do? He's trying to slip and scoop up on you onto the linebacker. So what do? You could play on his backside, push him down the line of scrimmage. Don't let him slip and scoop and get up. You don't have to get your head front side. Run around the block now and then like Jerome used to, like Carter's doing. By the way, I talked to Clint Hurd about that. They're teaching him to do this. So when he runs around a couple blocks, they're telling him to do that. That keeps the old line guard in the center honest. He goes, you spotted that, huh? I go, yeah, I see it. Now, Jerome did that. He goes, he has to turn to the linebacker and tell him what he's doing for it to be successful. That's what they're doing. And I think it's a great technique. Okay? You don't want to let the offensive guard know you're predictable. You want to be unpredictable. You'll run around the block. Can't run around a mall, but you can run around a block. Fair to say Vic is better teacher than Kellen? Yes. No, I don't know. Kellen Moore has taken the offensive skill set and he has elevated it. Last year, they tried the passing game and they tried to elevate the passing game and they couldn't because the quarterback. This year, they decided to go with the run game and they're solely a run team with a couple slants. And by the way, I want you to understand, and I'm saying it again, Jalen Hurts is essential in this run game. Saquon Barkley does not have 2,000 yards rushing if Jalen Hurts is not on that team. He does not. He's about 1,600 yards, 15. I don't fear Saquon Barkley like that. I fear Saquon Barkley and Hurts like that. Dude, you saw it this last game against the Rams. 2+ 30-yard runs by both guys. You can't fucking ask for more of a nightmare for a coordinator to get two different dudes with plus 30-yard rushes to the end zone. No way. That's unheard of. Two dudes doing it, and one of them's your quarterback. I can't tell you his impact and how big it is on the offense. That's why when you guys are talking about Tanner McKee doesn't offer you an explosive play. Hurts does. It's just not in the pass game. And I think that's kind of what Nick was saying. Okay? I mean, he's not going to get better as a passer. The Eagles are going to have to make some tough decisions, especially if they win it. If they win it, then they're going to have to look like this. Dude, you can't get schwimpy wide receivers in there. You got to get big dudes in there because people are going to be blocking in the run game. It is going to be essential moving forward after Barkley. Once Barkley's tires and his treads are down, how are you replacing that? You can't replace him with a college back. I think you've got to go in free agency and you got to hope one of these Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henrys, and Saquon Barkley. Hey, do I think Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry could do the same shit that Barkley did? Yeah, I do. Derrick Henry had $2,000 himself. He had 1940 or some shit. He would have done it too. I mean, he would have ran for the same amount of yards. He ran that way with a lesser line in Baltimore. Okay? I mean, facts are he had 1940. Barkley only outrushed him by 85 yards. Look, he said, but that's not his deal. In like 15 or 16 ball games, he almost had $2,000. Would have done the same shit. The key is that old line. And I'll say it again. Vic Fangio had unknowns. Kellen Moore had more limitations. I told you at the very beginning of the year that if you think Kellen Moore is going to come in here and change Jalen Hurts into a passing quarterback, you're out of your minds. All of you, including Zander, all fought me on that. I said that guy's not going to change. Coordinators don't change. So you know what he did? He said, I'm not going to have a passing offense. We're just going to turn around and hand the ball off. That's why your passing numbers are down. He knows that guy's not a good enough passer. How about this? He knows that he's an effective passer with the right plays. Here, I'll give you this. Jalen Hurts is probably really good. And we're going to get Zander at the bottom of the hour. You tell me if this is a fair comment. Jalen Hurts is probably really good in the pass game at 10 plays. Where some of these other guys with the playbook are good with about 30. And that's why the passing's limited. They stick to what they're not throwing the ball 35 yards down the field anymore. Last 7 games, according to Reuben Franks, they haven't had one completion of a 35-yard completion in the last 7 ball games. That's a trend. That's what they're doing. They're not throwing the ball deep. So there's basically about 10 plays he does really well. And they're sticking with it. And that's why when the plays aren't there, there's sacks or throwing the ball out of bounds and rolling right. That's why he's not going to get better. But as long as he stays in what they're doing inside the guard, he's got tighter guardrails. By the way, stop looking at this as a negative. You're fucking 16-3 in the NFC Championship game. All of us, including me, I know what it is now. Okay? I know what it is. Saban kind of put the cherry on top of it all. In 7 years, he's not gotten better. Okay? He's not gotten better in the pocket. He's taken more sacks this year than he's ever. It's never going to get better. However, if you help him with a great running game and give him the 10 right plays to make in a game, 15 plays in a game, how many completions does Jalen complete? What is it per game? Let's see what that number comes out to. What do you have, 261 completions? In what, 15 games? So if Jalen has 17 completions in a ball game, okay, that's all the Eagles are looking for. That's all they're looking for. And to play that style of football with building a great O-line, which you've been great for 15 years. There's nothing wrong with this. Your quarterback, though, is not going to be ever a guy where you look at and go, hey, and by the way, you got to hand it to him for accepting this role. Because what does he say? You know what the number one thing he says? Win. And that's exactly what this is. This is about winning. Okay? This is all about winning. Make no mistake about it. This is all about winning ball games. And that's where he is now. And that's what Kellen Moore has done to his advantage. Okay? So when people go like this, hey, Kellen's not really enhancing the game plan. No, he is 16-3. He gets the credit also. Okay? He gets the credit too when it comes to building this football team into where you are right now in the NFC Championship game. Okay? So you can't look at it any other way. I don't think he can. And I like the fact that he's accepted his role. Okay? I like the fact that he's accepted it. Okay? All right. Fair to say Vic is a better teacher? No, I don't think so. Shit, I'd accept it too. If they handed me a $250 million contract. You know, do you remember what Boomer Esiason said on this program about 2 years ago? Some of you weren't here. Do you remember what he said, Zander? Remember what he said? Jalen Hurts has got to learn how to play with his contract. And he left that out there, and I didn't know what that meant. And now I know. If they ask you to play inside of a system for $250 million, you go along with that system because, one, the Eagles have invested in you. They're not trying to get rid of you. They gave you the no trade. They're going to build everything around you to be able to go along with what they're doing. Do you understand that the $250 million contract that Jalen has is go along money? Go along with what we're doing. We'll help build a team, and you're going to be here for it. And we want the style of play. That 250 is go along money. Okay? Hit the like button. Hey, by the way, this is not a rip. You're in the NFC title game for a second time in 3 years. Right? Forest Hill, 2022 offense, 9th in passing yards. Okay? 16th in 2024 and 29th now. They caught up with him. I mean, hey, defensive coordinators, once they get game film on you, they know how to block you. There's certain guys that can't take power rushes in the offensive line. What do? You bull rush them. You set them up for power rushes. I mean, every player has a weakness. Everybody, usually. Every player has a weakness. Okay? I mean, some is durability. Look at Dallas Goedert. What's Dallas Goedert's weakness? Dallas Goedert's weakness is he can't stay healthy. What's Jalen Hurts' right now? Takes a ton of sacks. Not real proficient. A lot of guys wide open. But he'll make 10 plays in a game that matter. Okay, I mean, what's been Barkley's Achilles heel? Health. Health has been his Achilles heel. What else? Now we know, organizationally, the Giants were atrocious around him. The Giants didn't build a team around him. The Giants' inability to be able to put talented players around him was on clear effect this year. Get this. This 2024-25 Saquon Barkley season is more of an indictment on the Giants than it is anything else. It's an indictment on the Giants. For how many years? How many years is Barkley? How many years was he in New York? 6? 5? It's an indictment on New York. On how they didn't build a team, put a shitty quarterback around them, no skilled guys. The difference between 22 Hurts and 24 is the weight of expectations. There's $250 million. Keep AJ happy. Oh, and stop running it over. We accept the NFC conference. We expect the NFC conference game every single season. Dude's petrified to make a mistake. I don't think he's petrified. I don't think he plays like that nasty. I don't think he plays like that. I think his expectations are higher. Yeah, okay. $250 million put on him. Absolutely. And you expect an NFC championship appearance. Okay. He should. And I don't think he's petrified. Okay. By the way, one of my problems is with some of you that don't you have expectations too for Hurts? Some of you have is excuses. Dude, I don't give a shit about one player on your team. I carry plays, I carry produces. The two P's. And if you want to get personal with them later, that's fine. I would think in a city like Philly, I get the players that play 10 plus years. You have an affection for them. They love playing for you. They get you. I get that. Those guys are different. But guys who come in and out of here, fucking cares. Go produce. Go win. That's why everybody was caring about T.O. I don't give a shit what T.O.'s attitude was. Go fucking get me 14 catches and 140 yards. And you want to do push-ups in your driveway? Have at it. I don't care. You want to read books on the sideline? Have at it. Go get me 110 yards. And if you turn out to be somebody Philly loves and wants to buy your jersey, and you turn out to be one of the all-timers, great. That's cherry on top. But at the end of the day, I don't care about that. You see, the NFL is a lot like college in a way. You can love all your college players, but they're out of the game in 4 years. You got to go to down there. You root for the team in college. You had great players at Ohio State, Notre Dame. Great players. You root for the teams. Okay? Jalen would not be starting before DE. Look, that ship has sailed. That conversation's over. Okay? He's got a no trade. You gave him the money. You got to learn to play with this, and that's what they're doing. Dude, Hurts' greatest asset, he's not fighting this. You don't really think Dan Marino fought this? When Jimmy Johnson got the head coaching job in Miami, he fought Jimmy. He didn't want to go to a run game. That would have benefited him. He wanted nothing to do with it. And that's why that relationship was horrible in the end. Dan Marino and Jimmy Johnson never got along because Dan didn't want to win the way that Jimmy thought it took to win. He was going to put a running game in there. Dan wanted no part of it. And when he tried to trade him to Pittsburgh, which is facts, Wayne Huizinga parachuted in and stopped it. You know why? He didn't want the bad publicity of trading Dan Marino. Well, Dan Marino's from Penn Hills. Played at Penn Hills in PA. I don't think that would have been a bad thing, sending him back to Pennsylvania and then building a run attack. Troy Aikman was going to come out of retirement. Do you know that? If Dan Marino had left and went to Pittsburgh, Troy Aikman was coming out of retirement to play for Jimmy in Miami. That's a fact. Okay? That's a fact. Hit the like button. Zander's going to join us here in a couple minutes. I didn't know that Dan Marino never beat Penn State. I thought he had a couple wins against Penn State. I know that they went 11-1 a couple years, and they got upset by Penn State in one of those seasons. I didn't know that. I did have expectations coming into the season for Jalen, though he would play way better. But at this point, I reevaluate how I feel about him after the season. I just want to win. Messiah, that's okay. Get this, Messiah. According to some people in here, that meant that you flip-flopped on your take for him. There's nothing wrong with reevaluating how you see a player. Okay? Zander Krause is flip-flopped on Jalen Hurts. He thought he was going to throw for 4,600 yards, but now you know what he's doing? But he's right to do this. He's accepted the fact that he's winning inside of a system and an identity. That's football. these takes are not cemented. You don't build buildings with sports takes because they're going to evolve. Zander was perfect. He goes like this. Well, okay, he's not going to throw for 4,600, but he's 16-3. What's more important to me? That's the way you look at shit. Well, hell, some of those quarterbacks that he mentioned a couple days ago, they're all home. Well, I'd rather be Hurts than Joe Burrow. That's not a flip-flop. That's actually what and how people should look at, the offense with Kellen. Their quarterback is just not throwing the ball around. Look at how you look at things and you segment them. You segment one to favor Hurts and one to diminish Kellen. And yet Kellen also, as a coordinator, has led your football team to an NFC championship, something he never did in Dallas. Kellen Moore has more success this year than any time in his coaching career. Do you not agree? He just wins. Or does that not apply for him? Kellen had the number one offenses twice in Dallas, never getting to a conference championship. Now he's in a conference championship. He's won more this year than any time in his offensive coordinating career. This guy goes, Kellen Moore's not good, and you're in the NFC championship game. You're not in the NFC championship game because of your quarterback. You're in because the coordinator and the run game. And people don't want to hear that. That's the reality. That's where you are. Hit the like button, my friends. I mean, Kellen Moore can't run his playbook here. Correct. You know what he did? I told you at the beginning of the season, if you think Kellen Moore is going to walk into Philadelphia and create a passing offense for that quarterback, you're out of your mind. You remember what my prediction was? My prediction was 3,200 passing yards and 20 touchdowns. You know what he ended the season with? 2,903 and 18. We were spot on. Where I wasn't spot on was that I didn't think that defense was going to be that way. And Vic would have the impact that he's had. This is the best year of his coaching career, probably since the Philadelphia Stars. Okay? But listen, you've all changed how you see the kid. That's a good thing. Okay? That's a good thing. Hey, and by the way, when you go back to what Saban said that 7 years ago about him. He hasn't changed his opinion. That's why they went with Tua. That's the same opinion he had of him. Nothing's changed. By the way, this kind of is like really similar. Okay? It's really similar to Bama. Who was in that wide receiving room at Alabama at the time when Hurts was there in 18? Before I get Zander on here, let me take a look at that. 2018, Alabama roster. Just take a look at this for a second here. Here's the 2018 Alabama roster. They won a national title that year. They were 14-1, I believe. So here's who was on that. Here's who was on that team. Yeah, Josh Jacobs as a running back, Najee Harris, Brian Robinson Jr. All three guys starting as running backs in the NFL. You had Judy, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. Wow. Let's see who else you had in here. Dude, you had tremendous football players. Let's take a look at these wide receivers you had down here. Holy cow. Look at that. You had all those guys. So you had Chris Herring was decent. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, and your running backs were Damian Harris, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, and Brian Robinson. The quarterback room was Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, and Mac Jones. And they replaced them. Yeah. All right. How you doing? Holy shit, Zander. That is some fucking roster in 18. And they yanked him. And the kid was 26-2. He was the SEC Player of the Year. All right. All right. Go get themselves. I'll find anything on you, bitch. Don't let it hang out there like that. All right. Hey, man, did Zander do some giveaways today? I sure hope so, man. Birds 365 is absolutely killing it. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. You're days away from the NFC Championship game. You're days away from getting hammered in New Orleans. Down there with all those freakazoids down there. Absolutely a great time at Hurricanes. Go to Pat O'Brien's and get fucked up. Getting ready for a championship game on Sunday. And who's going to be the leader of the pack? The co-host of Birds 365, Big Z, Zander Krause. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother? You're making me relive the glory days of Alabama, man. That's a pretty stacked roster you just read out.
What the running backs?
Oh, my God. The receivers, the running backs, the coaches, you name it, man. They had everybody that year. Great defense, too, by the way, that year for Alabama. So people saying, how'd they